Have you ever considered how much harm one person can bring into your life? Not with a single act of betrayal, not with one cruel word, but through a steady, relentless erosion of your self-worth. A slow poisoning of your peace. A cycle of disrespect, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion that you've convinced yourself is normal. Because they are family, because they are friends, because you feel obligated to endure. But what if I told you that love should never be a prison? That loyalty should not come at the cost of your sanity. That sometimes the bravest, strongest thing you can do is walk away, even from the people who once meant everything to you. The truth is, not everyone deserves a permanent place in your life. Some people exist to teach you where your boundaries are. Some relationships are not meant to be repaired, they are meant to be released. And yet, how often do we ignore the warning signs? The subtle betrayals. The constant feeling of walking on eggshells. The exhaustion of giving and never receiving. The way your heart sinks instead of soars when you see their name on your phone. This isn't about being heartless, it's about being awake. It's about recognizing that no matter how much history you share, if someone continuously disrespects you, they do not belong in your future. In this video, we'll uncover the 10 undeniable signs that it's time to cut all ties, even if it's with family or lifelong friends. These aren't just red flags, they are alarms that you can't afford to ignore. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll learn here isn't just about leaving toxic people behind. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, and your self-respect. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic for more insights on strength and self-mastery. Comment below with the phrase, "I choose peace over toxicity," to declare your commitment to protecting your energy and walking away from what no longer serves you. Let's dive in. Number 1. They see you as a tool, not a person. You are not a friend to them, not a family member, not a human being with thoughts, emotions, and boundaries. You are a service, a wallet when they need money, a therapist when they need to vent, a caretaker when they need something fixed, a punching bag when life doesn't go their way. And what happens when you need them? Silence, excuses, vanishing acts, the pain of being used. Imagine this. You've always been there for them, always picking up the pieces when their life falls apart, always answering the late-night calls, dropping everything to help, and lending them money with no questions asked. Then one day, you need them. Maybe you're struggling emotionally, maybe you're in financial trouble, maybe you just need someone to listen for once, so you reach out. And their response? "I'm busy." "Why are you being so dramatic? I'm sure you'll figure it out." Or worse, they disappear. Because they were never in this for you. They were in this for what you could provide. And now that you need something in return, you're no longer useful. The cold truth about being used. People like this don't feel guilt. They don't sit around regretting how they've treated you. Because in their mind, they did nothing wrong. They never saw you as a person. They never valued you as an equal. You were a function. And once that function no longer serves them, you are discarded. They will drain you dry. They will take until there is nothing left. And then they will move on to the next person who can give them what they want. And the worst part? They will act like you were the problem for expecting basic human decency in return. A story of walking away. Liam had been best friends with Eric for 10 years. Through every failed relationship, every financial struggle, every breakdown, Liam had been there, lending money, offering advice, providing a shoulder to cry on. But when Liam hit rock bottom, when he lost his job, when he needed a friend, Eric was nowhere to be found. At first, Liam made excuses. Maybe he's just busy, maybe I'm asking for too much, but then he saw the truth. Eric wasn't busy, he just wasn't interested. Because Liam had stopped being the guy who could fix things, who could provide, who could support. And once Liam was the one in need, he became disposable. That was the day Liam walked away, and for the first time in years he felt free. How to recognize when someone only sees you as a tool. 1. They only call when they need something. 2. They disappear when you need them. 3. They guilt trip you into helping them but never offer anything in return. 4. They treat your kindness as an expectation, not a privilege. 5. You feel exhausted and unappreciated after every interaction. If you recognize these signs, you don't need another warning. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to wait for them to change. You don't need to keep setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. You need to walk away. Because the only way to win this game is to stop playing. Number 2, they belittle you in front of others. Disrespect doesn't always come in the form of outright insults. Sometimes it comes dressed as a joke, a sarcastic comment that stings more than it should, a cruel remark, masked as humor, a harmless story shared at your expense, one you never wanted anyone to hear. And as people laugh, you feel it, the sinking in your chest, the silent humiliation, the realization that you are not being seen as an equal. Because you are not a friend to them. You are entertainment. When someone uses you as their punchline, it starts small. A casual remark, a little teasing. You brush it off because you don't want to overreact. But then it happens again and again. They mock your dreams in front of others. They expose your vulnerabilities to get a laugh. They use your past mistakes as a punchline. They make jokes at your expense, and when you protest, they smirk and say, "Relax, I'm just kidding." But here's the truth. It was never just a joke. It was a choice. And the louder the laughter, the clearer their message. Your dignity means nothing to them. Why they do it. This isn't accidental. This isn't ignorance. This is a tactic. Some people belittle others for one reason: control. 1, they feel small, so they make you smaller. 2, they crave attention, so they sacrifice your dignity for it. 3, they want to assert dominance, so they chip away at your confidence. Example, imagine you're at a family gathering. You're finally sharing a dream of yours, maybe starting a business, writing a book, or moving abroad. And then, the laughter. "Oh, please, you? Run a business? You? A writer? That's hilarious. You wouldn't last a day out there." Everyone chuckles, thinking it's harmless, but inside you shrink. Your fire dims. That moment was not about humor. That was an attack. And the more you let it slide, the more they will do it. The Stoic response: do not entertain disrespect. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." Why do we tolerate people who treat us like a joke? Why do we give them a pass, laugh along, and pretend it doesn't hurt, when deep down, we know it does? Disrespect does not deserve another chance. If they have humiliated you once, they will do it again. If they have laughed at your expense, they will do it again. If they have used your pain for their entertainment, they will do it again. The only way to stop it? Walk away. Not with a dramatic fight, not with an argument to convince them. Just silence, absence, closure. Because the moment you stop entertaining their mockery, you take back your power. How to recognize this behavior? 1, they always joke about things that matter to you. 2, they humiliate you in front of an audience, never in private. 3, they dismiss your feelings when you tell them it bothers you. 4, they laugh harder when they see you uncomfortable. 5, you feel small, unheard, and disrespected after every interaction. This is not friendship. This is not love. This is psychological warfare. Why? This is your closure. If someone belittles you in front of others, you don't need an apology. You don't need them to explain why they did it. You don't need another joke at your expense to prove what you already know. Their actions were the closure. So leave and let them laugh alone. Number 3, they envy everything you have. Ah, the green-eyed monster. Not the kind that hides under your bed, but the kind that sits across from you at dinner, nodding and smiling while secretly wishing you'd fail. You know this person. You've seen them. The one who never claps when you win, who says "I'm happy for you" with gritted teeth, who finds a way to remind you that your success is either undeserved or just dumb luck. They don't hate you, they hate what you represent. You are proof that they could have done more, that they could have tried harder, that their excuses are just that, excuses. And that is unbearable to them. Their support comes with a twist. Oh, don't get it wrong. They'll pretend to be happy for you. Did you get a promotion? Must be nice knowing the right people. Have you started a business? Ugh, I wish I had free time like you. Are you in a healthy relationship? Wow, must be nice not having real responsibilities. It's not a compliment. It's a slap covered in sugar. Because in their mind, your success isn't something to celebrate. It's a personal attack on them. The inconvenient truth about envy. Here's what nobody tells you. Jealousy is louder than applause. The people who secretly envy you will never cheer the loudest. They will never be the ones hyping you up. supporting your dreams, or telling you to go for more. Instead, they will 1. Downplay your achievements. It's not that big of a deal. 2. Bring up their struggles to steal the moment. I've been having such a hard time lately. 3. Make backhanded compliments. Wow, I never thought you'd pull that off. They don't want you to fail exactly. They just don't want you to succeed more than them. And the worst part, they think you don't notice. A classic case of jealousy in disguise. Let's talk about Jason. Jason was the friend who never missed a chance to support his best friend Alex. When Alex got a new job, Jason said, "I could have had that job too, but I didn't feel like applying." When Alex moved into a bigger apartment, Jason sighed, "Must be nice to not have student loans." When Alex got engaged, Jason joked, "Wow, locking it down already? Guess I'll be the last one standing." Support? No. Sabotage disguised as friendship. And Alex for years tried to ignore it. Tried to believe that Jason's bitterness wasn't real, that it was just a harmless joke. Until one day, when Jason accidentally let it slip in front of others. Alex? Oh yeah, he got lucky. Right place, right time. Some of us have to care for our success. That was the moment Alex realized Jason was never his friend. That was the moment he walked away. The Stoic lesson. Do not apologize for your growth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." And yet, so many people fear fully living because they don't want to outshine the people around them. They shrink, they downplay their wins, they avoid celebrating too much. Why? Because they don't want to make others uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Your success is not a crime. Your happiness is not a betrayal. You are not responsible for making bitter people feel better about their mediocrity. What you must do if someone can't celebrate with you, they do not deserve a front row seat in your life. Do not shrink to make them comfortable. Do not apologize for what you've worked for. Do not keep people in your life out of guilt. Jealousy is not admiration. Fake support is not friendship, and you owe them nothing. If they can't handle your light, let them stay in the dark. Number 4, they use emotional chains to keep you bound. They don't need to apologize. They don't need to make amends. They don't need to treat you better. They just need to remind you who they are. But we're family. But we've been friends for years. After everything we've been through, you're going to walk away? And just like that, you hesitate. Not because they deserve to stay, not because they've changed, but because you've been conditioned to believe that relationships, especially those built on time, are unbreakable. But what if I told you that time means nothing without respect? When love is a cage, some relationships are like gravity. They pull you down, not because they love you, but because they don't want you to rise. They don't say, "I love you, so I'll do better." They say, "I love you, so you owe me." And that's when you realize this was never love. Because real love is not a debt. Real love is not a contract. Real love is not a chain. It does not demand your presence while offering you nothing in return. A story of breaking free. Sophia grew up believing that family meant forever. No matter how much her parents criticized her, no matter how much they made her feel like she wasn't enough, she had to stay. Because that's just how family is. Every holiday, she was expected to sit through their insults. Every achievement, she was met with indifference. Every boundary she tried to set was met with, "Don't be so sensitive. We raised you, you owe us. You'll regret cutting us off one day." And for years she stayed, not because she wanted to, but because she felt she had no choice. Until one day she asked herself, "Would I tolerate this from a stranger?" And that was the day she left. That was the day she realized family is more than blood. And the people who truly love you will never use that love to chain you. The Stoic lesson. Obligation is not love. Seneca once said, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver." If someone is keeping you in their life through guilt, manipulation, or obligation, it is not a gift, it is a trap, and you owe them nothing. Not because you don't care, not because you're heartless, but because you refuse to be kept in a relationship that only survives on guilt. How to recognize this manipulation. 1. They remind you of how much they've done for you. 2. They guilt trip you when you try to set boundaries. 3. They use time as leverage. "We've been friends for too long to end this." 4. They make you feel selfish for wanting space. 5. They make it seem like leaving them is a betrayal. This isn't love. This is control. What you must do. You do not owe someone access to your life simply because of history. You do not owe your loyalty to people who use it against you. You do not owe endless chances to people who refuse to change. You do not owe your time, energy, or peace to someone just because they share your blood. If someone has to remind you why you shouldn't leave, that's the only proof you need that you should. Love should never feel like a prison. So unlock the door and walk away. Number 5, they compete with you, not walk beside you. A real friend celebrates your victories. A real friend wants you to win. A real friend claps for you, even when they're not in the spotlight. But some people, they don't see friendship as a bond. They see it as a battlefield. Your achievements are not an inspiration to them. Your success is not motivation to them. Your growth is a personal attack on their ego. And so, instead of walking beside you, they turn you into an opponent. The silent war of one-sided competition. At first, you don't notice it. Do you get a promotion? They downplay it. Do you find happiness in a relationship? They remind you of all the times you failed. Did you start something new? They suddenly start doing the same thing, not because they want to, but because they refuse to let you be ahead. It's subtle, it's quiet, but you feel it. They never openly attack you. They never say, "I don't want you to succeed," but their actions say it all. The way they only support you when you're struggling. The way they suddenly shift gears whenever you're doing well. The way they always find a way to one-up you, to make your achievements look smaller. This is not friendship. This is not love. This is a power struggle disguised as a relationship. A story of hidden competition. Ethan and Mark had been best friends for years. At least that's what Ethan thought. But every time Ethan accomplished something, Mark had a strange reaction. When Ethan landed a better job, Mark said, I could have gotten that job too, but I didn't want it. When Ethan started working out and getting in shape, Mark laughed. Let's see how long that lasts. When Ethan finally got engaged, Mark smirked. I don't know, man, I give it a year. It took Ethan years to see the truth. Mark never actually wanted him to fail. He just couldn't stand seeing him win. And when Ethan finally cut ties, he realized something even more powerful. He had been competing alone this whole time. Because Mark was never a rival. He was just insecure. The Stoic lesson. A friend's success is not your failure. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And here's the truth. People who are truly happy with themselves do not feel threatened by your success. If someone cannot celebrate you, they do not belong beside you. A real friend does not secretly hope you fail. A real friend does not compete with you. A real friend does not make you feel guilty for growing, evolving, and becoming more. If someone treats your success like a personal attack on their existence, they are not your friend. They are an anchor tied around your feet, and the only way to move forward is to cut the rope. How to spot a competitive friend. 1. They downplay your success. Oh, that's cool, I guess. 2. They always try to outdo you. Oh, you got a new job, I got 2 offers. 3. They offer backhanded compliments. Wow, you did it, I'm surprised. 4. They act uninterested when you're doing well, but supportive when you're struggling. 5. They never genuinely celebrate your wins. If someone competes with you instead of standing beside you, they are not a friend. They are an obstacle. What you must do not shrink to make them comfortable. Do not downplay your wins to protect their feelings. Do not apologize for leveling up. If your success triggers their insecurity, that is their problem. And if they can't handle watching you rise, leave them where they are. You don't have time to fight battles that only exist in their mind. Number 6, they have perfected the art of shifting blame. No matter what happens, no matter how clear the truth is, somehow, you always end up being the villain. They turn every situation into a courtroom where they play the innocent victim. And you're the one being cross-examined for crimes you never committed. At first, it's subtle. A little gaslighting here and a little guilt-tripping there. You brush it off, thinking maybe you are overreacting. But soon, you start doubting yourself. Maybe you were too harsh. Maybe you should have been more patient. Maybe, just maybe, you are the problem. And that's exactly what they want. When the blame always falls on you. Take Noah's story. He was in a relationship where every argument ended the same way, with him apologizing. It didn't matter if his girlfriend ignored his boundaries, manipulated his emotions, or outright lied. She always found a way to make him the guilty one. If he set a boundary, she'd say, "Wow, I guess I mean nothing to you." If he caught her in a lie, she'd cry and say, "I only lied because I didn't want to hurt you." If he ever got upset, she'd sigh, "You always make everything about yourself." And Noah? He started believing it. He started questioning himself, walking on eggshells, apologizing for things that weren't even his fault, because that was easier than dealing with her emotional breakdowns. Until one day, when he was drained beyond recognition, he realized that every fight, every conflict, every problem always had one common factor: her refusal to take responsibility. And that was the moment he finally walked away. The Stoic perspective: you do not owe someone your guilt. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." People who shift blame are masters of controlling your mind. They manipulate you not by force, but by making you doubt yourself. They know that guilt is a powerful weapon, and they will wield it like a sword against you if you let them. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for their reactions. You are not responsible for their inability to take accountability. You are not responsible for fixing the chaos they create. You do not have to explain yourself endlessly. You do not have to accept guilt that isn't yours. You do not have to carry the weight of their insecurities. Because the moment you stop playing their game, the moment you say, "No, I will not take responsibility for your mess," is the moment they lose their power over you. How to recognize the blame shifter. 1. They always play the victim, no matter what. 2. They never sincerely apologize, only shift focus to your reaction. 3. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. 4. They turn every argument into a way to highlight your flaws. 5. You constantly feel like you have to defend yourself, even when you did nothing wrong. This is not a misunderstanding, this is a pattern. And if you recognize it, you don't need another sign to leave. The only way to win is to stop playing. People like this will never admit fault. They will never look in the mirror and own their mistakes. They would rather twist reality, rewrite history, and manipulate emotions than take responsibility. So if you are waiting for them to change, stop. If you are waiting for them to finally say, "You're right, I was wrong," stop. If you are waiting for them to suddenly wake up and see the damage they've done, stop. Because the truth is, they already know. They just don't care. And the moment you understand that, the moment you stop explaining yourself, stop apologizing, stop trying to fix what they refuse to acknowledge, you win. So the real question is, how many more times will you let them rewrite reality before you finally walk away? Number 7, they betray your trust, then pretend it never happened. Trust is not something you give away carelessly. It's something built over time, through shared secrets, whispered vulnerabilities, and the silent understanding that what is given in confidence will stay in confidence. But some people don't see trust as something to be honored. They see it as currency to be spent however it benefits them. You tell them something in private, thinking you are safe, only to hear it echo back from the mouths of strangers. They take what you gave them in intimacy and scatter it like gossip, like a joke, like something that never mattered. And when you confront them, they don't apologize. They don't acknowledge the damage they've done. They don't even flinch. They just shrug, pretend it never happened, and move forward like nothing has changed, because for them, nothing has. That's the real betrayal, isn't it? Not just that they exposed you, but that they never valued your trust in the first place. The words you spoke in moments of raw honesty were nothing more than entertainment to them. Your pain was just another story to tell. And if they hurt you, if they broke something that can never be repaired, that's your problem, not theirs. They will gaslight you if you bring it up. "I didn't say it like that. You're overreacting. Why are you making this a big deal?" And suddenly, you are the unreasonable one. You are the one being dramatic. You are the one expected to move on as if your trust wasn't shattered, as if the foundation of your relationship wasn't just burned to the ground. But here's the truth. They knew exactly what they were doing. A mistake is an accident, but betrayal is a choice. They knew it was wrong. They knew it would hurt you, But they did it anyway. And the fact that they can look you in the eye and act like it never happened is proof that they will do it again. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And people like this, their souls are stained with selfishness and deceit, with an unshakable belief that their trust is something disposable. So ask yourself this: how many more times will you let them play this game? How many more times will you allow them to make a fool of you, to take what's sacred and turn it into cheap conversation? How many more times will you pretend you don't see the truth, that the person you trusted never deserved it in the first place? Because they will not change. They will not wake up one day and suddenly respect what they never valued before. The only thing that will change is you, if you finally decide to walk away. Number 8, you feel drained every time you see them. Some people don't bring warmth into a room, they suck the light out of it. They walk in and suddenly the energy shifts, the air feels heavier, the mood darkens, and before they even open their mouth, you already know what's coming. Complaints, negativity, drama, a monologue about everything wrong in their life and the world. At first, you try to be understanding. You tell yourself they're just going through a rough patch. But then you notice, it's always a rough patch. There's always something wrong. There's always a problem, a crisis, a new reason why life is unfair to them. And guess who has to listen? You. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted, if you had a bad day, if you just need a moment of peace. Their problems always come first. Their negativity fills every conversation like poison in a well, and before you realize it, you're drowning in it too. At the end of every interaction, you don't feel happy. You don't feel understood. You feel drained. Like someone reached inside you and stole your energy, your optimism, and your ability to see the good in things. You leave these conversations exhausted, heavy, and irritated for reasons you can't even explain. And yet, they walk away lighter, because they just dumped their emotional baggage on you. This is not friendship. This is not love. This is emotional vampirism. A real connection should make you feel seen, supported, and uplifted. Not like you just finished an unpaid therapy session. Not like you need to recover from every interaction. A relationship, any relationship, should not feel like a full-time job. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But how can you protect your mind when you are constantly surrounded by negativity? How can you find peace when someone in your life thrives on chaos? You can't. And if you think staying is an act of kindness, think again, because it is not your job to fix them. So ask yourself, how much longer will you keep sacrificing your energy for someone who only takes? How many more times will you walk away from them feeling worse than when you arrived? Because the truth is, if someone always leaves you feeling empty, it's not your responsibility to refill them. It's your responsibility to walk away. Number 9, you feel drained every time you see them. Some people don't bring warmth into a room, they suck the light out of it. They walk in and suddenly the energy shifts, the air feels heavier, the mood darkens. And before they even open their mouth, you already know what's coming. Complaints, negativity, drama, a monologue about everything wrong in their life and the world. At first you try to be understanding. You tell yourself they're just going through a rough patch. But then you notice, it's always a rough patch. There's always something wrong. There's always a problem, a crisis, a new reason why life is unfair to them. And guess who has to listen? You. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted, if you had a bad day, if you just need a moment of peace. Their problems always come first. Their negativity fills every conversation like poison in a well, and before you realize it, you're drowning in it too. At the end of every interaction, you don't feel happy, you don't feel understood, you feel drained, like someone reached inside you and stole your energy, your optimism, and your ability to see the good in things. You leave these conversations exhausted, heavy, and irritated for reasons you can't even explain. And yet, they walk away lighter, because they just dumped their emotional baggage on you. This is not friendship. This is not love. This is emotional vampirism. A real connection should make you feel seen, supported, and uplifted. Not like you just finished an unpaid therapy session. Not like you need to recover from every interaction. A relationship, any relationship should not feel like a full-time job. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." But how can you protect your mind when you are constantly surrounded by negativity? How can you find peace when someone in your life thrives on chaos? You can't. And if you think staying is an act of kindness, think again, because it is not your job to fix them. So ask yourself, how much longer will you keep sacrificing your energy for someone who only takes? How many more times will you walk away from them feeling worse than when you arrived? Because the truth is, if someone always leaves you feeling empty, it's not your responsibility to refill them. It's your responsibility to walk away. Number 10. They are incapable of healthy love. Love is not possession. Love is not control. Love is not a game of power, where one person dominates while the other shrinks. Yet, for some people, this is the only version of love they know. Not because they lack the ability to feel, but because they cannot love in a way that is healthy, mutual, and free from manipulation. At first, they may seem passionate, intense, and deeply invested in you. They say all the right words and make all the right promises. But over time, you begin to notice something unsettling. Their love doesn't come freely, it comes with conditions. They demand your time, but never respect yours. They crave your attention, but resent your independence. They say they care, but their actions are filled with jealousy, control, and punishment when you step outside the lines they have drawn for you. This isn't love. This is ownership. They don't want a partner. They want a possession. They don't want a friend. They want a follower. They don't want a family. They want a hierarchy where they are at the top, dictating the rules, and you are below, obeying them. And the worst part, they make you believe that this is normal. You start excusing their behavior. They just care too much. They had a rough childhood. They don't mean to be this way. But deep down, you feel it. That creeping sense of suffocation, the way your world seems to shrink the longer you stay. Because their version of love does not make you more of yourself. It makes you less. When love becomes a cage. Think about Emma. She was in a relationship where love was used as a weapon. If she wanted to see her friends, her boyfriend would say, "I guess I'm not important to you anymore." If she didn't answer his calls immediately, he would accuse her of being unfaithful. If she ever tried to set a boundary, he would remind her of how much he had done for her, how much he had sacrificed, and how ungrateful she was for even thinking of putting herself first. Over time, Emma started shrinking. She stopped going out. She stopped sharing her dreams. She stopped making decisions without first worrying about how he would react. She lost herself. And yet, when she thought about leaving, the first thought that entered her mind wasn't, "I deserve better." It was, "But I love him." This is what happens when love is laced with manipulation. It stops being love. It becomes a prison. The Stoic perspective, love without freedom is not love. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be loved, love." True love, whether in friendship, family, or romance, is built on respect, understanding, and choice. It does not demand, it does not suffocate, and it does not punish. If someone only loves you when you obey, that is not love. If someone only respects you when you submit, that is not love. If someone makes you feel guilty for having your own identity, that is not love. You do not owe loyalty to someone who only knows how to control, not love. You do not have to keep proving your worth to someone who will never see it. You do not have to shrink yourself to fit inside a love that was never real to begin with. How to recognize unhealthy love. 1. They confuse control with care. 2. They manipulate you into feeling guilty for being independent. 3. They give affection as a reward and withdraw it as punishment. 4. They make you feel like you owe them your time, energy, and emotions. 5. They use phrases like, "If you loved me, you would." Real love does not feel like walking on eggshells. It does not feel like fear, guilt, or exhaustion. It feels like freedom. What you must do. You cannot fix them. You cannot teach them how to love in a way they refuse to learn. You cannot make yourself smaller in the hope that they will become bigger. If they only know how to love through control, manipulation, and conditions, then the only healthy choice you have is to leave. Because love should never feel like a cage, and you are not meant to live in one. Conclusion. Walking away is not loss, it's liberation. Some endings come with a conversation, an apology, or closure. But the most powerful closure of all disrespect, repeated betrayal, the silent realization that you deserve better. The decision to cut ties is never easy. It carries weight, history, and 1,000 what-ifs. But the truth is, some people were never meant to walk beside you for a lifetime. Some relationships do not bring growth, only exhaustion. Some bonds do not deserve repair, only release. The lessons we've explored today, recognizing manipulation, setting boundaries, and refusing to tolerate toxicity, are not just about self-preservation. They are about self-respect. To walk away from what no longer serves you is to reclaim your peace, your strength, and your future. It is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of survival. If this message has resonated with you, let this be the moment you choose yourself. Hit like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic for more insights on self-mastery and strength. And in the comments, declare your commitment with the words, "I choose peace over toxicity." Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me today. Remember, you do not owe anyone your suffering. You do not need permission to let go. You are allowed to walk away, to heal, to build a life free from those who only bring harm. Live with courage, stand firm in your worth, and never be afraid to choose yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay wise, and keep moving forward.